What's going on, everybody? I'm here at VIR for HyperFest. This is my first HyperFest. I've been racing 11 years now, never made it here. And everybody always says like how much, how big the event is, and there's stuff going on everywhere around here. So super excited to be here. The car, hopefully I do better than I have the other two races I've done this year. With the Hoosiers, the floor, and the diffuser. Oh, so if you don't watch all my videos, the last few videos were me doing I'll show you. So finally got the diffuser installed. I guess the shadow makes it a little hard to see. And then a little hard to see, but I do have a flat floor. So with the Hoosiers, the floor, the diffuser, I did have to increase the weight of the car to remain legal, but all in all, the car should be quicker. So yeah, excited to see what I can do this weekend. It's Friday afternoon right now. I'm not on track until Saturday morning. For me, it's a regular kind of race weekend, but there's all sorts of, you can probably hear it in the background, there's drifting going on, people out on track. They're even giving helicopter rides and stuff. So anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Alright guys, so morning practice went pretty good. The car feels really good. I was just telling Kelly about it. You want to wave? Especially since the last time I was on track was with the GT350 and that was a mess. But no flopping or fluttering or anything, so the floor felt good. The diffuser, where the exhaust exits near the diffuser, I don't know if you can see that under there. I put some like aluminum heat shield on the diffuser because you don't want to burn the carbon. But one thing I did notice was coming out of Oak Tree, I think it's turn 12, but coming out of Oak Tree, a real slow turn, I'm able to get on it more. Coming onto the front straight, I don't know if you'll be able to see my hands in the video. The rear is much more stable. I did do an alignment on it. I didn't put that in a previous video, but the alignment was like a little bit off from the last time this was out. And with the weight, it makes sense that the weight being that far in the rear, I'm able to just get on it a little bit quicker. Coming out of turn, well, I guess it's turn 2, kind of the same deal. I can just get on it. I'm still on the Toyos right now, just because I didn't want to burn up a sticker set of A's in practice. but I will throw them on for qualifying. So with the extra rear grip, the more stable rear end, unfortunately my Solo, I don't know what was going on, so I don't think I got any data from it, so I don't know if I got a speed increase from the floor in the diffuser. I did trim out the rear wing as well, because the diffuser is putting more downforce on the rear. As far as balance went, it felt good. So honestly, yeah, I don't really want to change anything. I'm going to look over the floor in the diffuser, but yeah, next session out is qualifying. So yeah, all good things so far. Alright guys, I don't know what it is about me in this track getting laps, but we got a lap and a quarter before the red flag came out. Hopefully whoever it is isn't too bad. There's some car getting towed off right now. It may have been a fire, which is always scary. So hopefully he's alright, whoever calls the red flag. But yeah, only did a 206 something, because you can see through turns like 5, 6 heading on to like up and into the S's. I got held up terribly. So then I was slow down that whole little back stretch up in through the S's. I think I'm like 6 out of 8 cars or something. Coming around lap 2, had a clear track. I think I saw a 203, a low 203 on the predictive, which would have put me, I think, like 3rd in class. Because I think everybody in front of me was ahead of that one car that held me up. So it's kind of like I kind of got screwed. But anyways, it should be a fun race because the car felt good. It's got definitely easy 203s in it, 202s for sure. You know, balance-wise, it felt good. Corner speeds felt good. I'll look at the data of that lap, see if I can gain anything from it. But for the most part, you know, I'm not going to touch the car. Just put some gas in it and go. Alright guys, not the race I wanted. I finished dead last because I had to come in a lap early. I don't know if it'll come up on video, but there's like a whooshing noise that it sounded like a turbo pipe like popped off or something, like a massive boost leak. The car just had no power, so it's just kind of like, yeah, might as well just bring it in. The other thing I noticed real quick is my power steering is kind of spitting up. And if you look in the wheel well, see all these little oil spatters everywhere? I thought the tires were getting really greasy, and it kind of makes sense because I guess I was getting some power steering fluid spitting out of that because the car was running hot, and it was, so the power steering cooler is right there, and if the car was running, shoot, I was like high 220s, 230 something, as hot as it is, being right on people's tail the whole time. So yeah, I got to figure out if there's a boost leak, figure out why that's overflowing. Yeah, not a good one. All right guys, so here's where we're at. The turbo gasket, right, where is it? There. Might be washed out with the light. That ended up blowing out. And I've been having issues with that thing. That's probably like the only main issue I've been having with this EcoBoost swap. I think because the turbo is tucked so tight up in there, and with the radiator being ducted, there's just like no airflow, just, you know, getting the heat off of the turbo right there. And I put a heat shield on it, you can't quite see it in there, just so the turbo wouldn't melt like anything around it. So I think what I'm going to do is start running with the left side duct off, so that way the air going through the radiator, even though it's hot, it's much cooler than the turbo, and hopefully prevent that turbo gasket from blowing out as frequently as it does. I probably replaced that thing maybe 4 times now. I don't have a gasket with me, so I used Ultra Copper, which is like an RTV for exhaust gaskets basically. Hopefully it kind of hangs in there. So we'll see tomorrow. Alright guys, so it's Sunday morning and I'll show you where we're at. So you can see I'm not running with this duct, and the reason being is if you look in there, back behind, let me get a flashlight. The thing with all the holes in it, right there, was the heat shield. So that was a heat shield that I put around the turbo, so the turbo wouldn't melt, because the steering shaft goes like right next to it, which actually has some like factory, almost like plastic stuff on it. And as tight as that turbo is up in there, I think I'm falling into like a weird situation where this track, it's been so hot some of these races with that radiator ducting not allowing like any airflow. You can just see how like tucked up that turbo is up and in there. So putting some holes in it and running without it on this side hopefully should kind of keep that turbo a little bit cooler. So hopefully that kind of, you know, put one last gasket on it and figure that out and not have to worry about it again, because the passenger side's been fine ever since I put the engine in the car. So but yeah, qualifying's in a couple minutes, and then we'll see how we do there. Alright guys, so don't know if you heard it in that video, but my car makes a cool whooshing noise now, which I know all the cool kids want. Pretty sure my blow-off valve is getting stuck open, which is kind of sort of what I thought yesterday, but I did, when I had the intake tube off, I took it off and checked it out, and it still has like spring tension. I feel like I might have a spare, because I used to have one that I like cut the canister off of. If I can find that, obviously throw that on. I'm pretty sure that's the deal now. Alright, so I did have a spare blow-off valve in my spare parts bin, because this one came on the old, when I got the whole complete engine, I got like the intake tubes and everything, but this one came with the control kit when I put this engine in the car. Now the control pack comes with like the computer and like all this weird stuff that you need to run the engine. The reason I'm using the OEM, I just figured like it's the way Ford kind of made the engine. Let me just kind of keep it as stock as possible, especially because when I originally built this to run an American Iron, I actually had to pull boost out of the car, detune it a little bit, and I just figured like, you know, just kind of keep it factored. If it's still an issue, that means it's something like the wiring is making it just stay open. And then I guess I could always just go to like a mechanical valve or something and just do it that way. So yeah, we'll see. It kind of stinks because I'm not going to know literally until I go out for the race if it's going to work or not. So we're back in the shop. Obviously not the weekend that I wanted. There were still some positive takeaways. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the video. When I did the 3.5 EcoBoost swap in this car back in 2016, it completed every lap of every race for 4 years, I think it was. So that kind of track record, I think a lot of people would actually love to have. You know, it's at the point where, you know, after 2020 was a weird year, obviously. I only did 3 events and had some issues in 2021, like the blow-off valve issue. You know, I'm gonna start running into those like weird things that are just gonna start happening when the car is now, let's see, 6 seasons of racing on everything really, you know? So I can't be too upset, but some of the positives, I did reset my quickest lap, not by much though, but on my quickest lap I went back and watched, you know, looked at my data and watched my Smarty Cam, and I did get held up a little bit, so it would have been like a high 202 or something like that. My theoretical best went all the way to a 202 flat. If you're familiar with AIM software, you can look at your split times and look at theoretical laps, where previously on the Toyos it was like a low 203, I think it was. So I just was never really able to string a lap together all weekend. So all things considered, you know, I can't be too upset. The floor and the diffuser worked great, no issues there. So, you know, thumbs up on that stuff. The season is over for this car. Next race, you'll probably see it back there, the Shelby, or I'm sorry, next track day will be with the Shelby. Got to get that thing ready. But yeah, for next season for this car, finish out the Aero. I'm gonna do, because now I have the flat floor under there, I got to do like skirts and kind of block that little bit. So, you know, the car can still be set up better for ST3. So I think I can actually pull out at least 50 pounds, if not a little bit more. Not huge, but those little bits kind of all add up to just making the car quicker. So, you know, that's about it for this video. If you guys want to see what I do in the off season with this thing, gonna be doing a bunch of stuff with the Shelby, some composite videos. You know, hit that subscribe button. As always, guys, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.